Like we are all here. So it being 7 o'clock, I'll call this the October 7th, 2025 meeting of the Wakefield Conservation Commission meeting to order. First item of business would be roll call. Jennifer?
Present.
Eleanor?
Present.
And I, Paul Wendelgasson, present. So members present, and we now have people wanting to get in from the waiting room. So we have a fairly substantial number of items on our agenda tonight, so we'll try to move through at an efficient pace. The first item is a request for an amended order at 71 Kendrick Road in Wakefield. That's DEP 313636, and we dealt with this previously and went with I think a number of us went to the site to take a look. And so I guess I'm opening it to questions or comments from the commission. Where we go.
Paul, I went to the site and it makes a lot more sense to me now. It seems like the front yard is essentially sliding into the wetland and it needs to be buffered up. I guess my question was, is the type of wall or material that's going to be used, is it just going to be a riprap slope that's sort of poured from on top, or is it going to match kind of the wall that's there today? I think in Ethan's write-up, he mentioned riprap, and so that's why
That's what that was my impression as well. I don't know, is the property owner for this?
Yes, I don't know what riprap means. I'm sorry. We were just planning on doing what's already there, Eleanor. Like they already have the rocks there. Just continue that over to the rest where it meets the house. I don't know what the other thing you're talking about is.
That would essentially be riprap, isn't it?
If you look at it, Paul, it's almost like large stones that form a wall. Right.
Basically, but they're essentially in repose against the slope of the hill. They're not a freestanding wall, as I remember it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to be
riprap as opposed to a freestanding wall.
Oh.
Freestanding wall would be vertical. Riprap is essentially laid in place against the slope to hold the slope stable. And I believe
that's what we were hoping for. Yes.
what they're proposing to do.
That's
what we had a few people come and look, and that's what they all said would be best to do.
Was to do riprap?
Yeah, that's what's already there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
Am I following you? I don't even know. I think so.
I guess I wouldn't have called it riprap, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of
I mean, they're larger rocks than what you normally sort of see as a riprap, but it's essentially as distinguished from a freestanding wall. It's sort of behaving like a riprap in my mind.
Okay.
So that's what it would be. That's what we would want it to be. Not a freestanding wall, just boulders put in to hold and maybe some crushed stone. They meant each person that came mentioned crushed stone as well.
To fill in sort of the gaps among the stones, among the larger rocks.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, loose crushed stone would probably just continue on down into your.
Oh yeah, no, that would be like in front of the stone, like behind the stone. I don't know.
Yeah,
where the fence would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're proposing perhaps a bedding or something like that to tie it together.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. I didn't have any other questions. I think Ethan had listed some conditions which would be just typical, put the sediment barrier at the bottom, that type of thing.
Right. Seems like that makes a lot of sense.
My question was about the drain and where the drain outputs. Is it at the bottom of the slope?
It will be, I believe. Right
Mhm.
now it's on top. That's what the problem is, I believe.
Yeah,
Mm,
okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Was Elaine going to join us tonight?
I thought so.
Yeah. I just realized we didn't have an agent present, but we can carry on the meeting, but it would be helpful to have her present to respond to any other questions, but, I don't have anything further to ask about it. So we would need to issue an amended order of conditions to the existing order of conditions for the house, for the project.
Yeah.
To build this retaining wall. And Ethan suggested some language in his background materials. Does that work for you both?
Would you like a
I think-
motion?
Would be very helpful, yes, thank you.
Okay. I'll move that a retaining wall, to amend the order of conditions, with the following condition: a retaining wall shall be constructed on the slope along the driveway. The purpose of this wall is to stabilize the slope and prevent further erosion. The fence may also be reinstalled in the same location. Proper erosion control measures shall be maintained during construction.
Okay,
Second.
thanks. And any questions or comments from the public before we go to that?
Oh,
No, you have to close the public meeting too.
right.
Public hearing.
Thanks. So I guess we need a motion to close the meeting first.
Motion.
Yeah, a second.
Okay. All in favor of closing the public meeting? Eleanor,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So the public meeting is now closed. And now we'll take up Jennifer's motion to with the conditions as she laid them out in the discussion. And do an amendment and authorize Ethan to issue the amended order of conditions for the project. All in favor? Jennifer,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes.
Elaine is joining us. Okay. And I vote yes. So, Joanne, you're all set with.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Enjoy the
thank
rest of
you.
your evening.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Looks like you've got a serious project ahead of you now.
Yeah, not one I'd like to take on, but yeah, I do.
I
Thank you.
understand.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Then we just dispensed with the first item, 71 Kendrick. And
I think the attorney for Edgewater is here. Maybe you could go through those.
okay, those are the salt storage and the old COCs. Okay. Thanks for letting me know that, Judy. And who is the attorney for Edgewater?
Good evening, everyone. Andrew Balbazon here on behalf of the property owner for Edgewater. I'm actually waiting for the property manager to arrive. So we're happy to go after the matters that have been listed ahead of us, if that's okay.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. We'll I think our next item may not be scheduled for a while. Am I correct on that?
Right, 7:35.
Yeah, thanks. That's gives us some time, we can look at the other agenda items. That we don't have scheduled.
We have invasive plant standard condition, and then we also have administrative matters and coordination, if that's,
Yeah,
those two seem pretty short that we could.
yeah, the invasive plant standard condition, I guess we need to think about how we would deal with that. I talked to Ethan last week. We discussed the prospect, and it's more challenging because are we aiming to enumerate invasive plant species, or are we aiming to just have a blanket condition that says that in the case of any project we approve, there needs to be a rooting out and destruction of invasives? I guess, the question I'm wondering about is how do we want to approach a standard condition on invasives?
I guess the way I'm sort of thinking about it is we've um, seen situations where development happens and then new invasives are introduced, and we didn't have an order of conditions to address it, right? So if you mandate the installation of a native plant garden, but somehow during the construction process you've introduced knotweed to the site, your native garden, whatever you've planted, is going to get overrun and not ultimately be successful in terms of helping with our conditions. Um, and so it'd be nice to have something that's a requirement that it's addressed. Um,
And I guess the
as
question is, how do you address it? Are we
well,
suggesting that the property owner has an obligation in perpetuity to remove any invasives that are identified on the property?
I think that might be a little too broad. I saw what Ethan had written before, um, and that's ideal, but that might be a little bit too broad. I think focusing on, um, you know, we if Elaine's here, we could get her thoughts, but
I'm
cert-
here.
Okay.
certainly it should definitely be a part of the order of conditions, right? Like if people are doing work next to a wetland and as part of their construction they've done regrading and everything, and then suddenly the next season you have all this knotweed that doesn't you know that does not contribute to the wetland values. So it's something that we would want to have addressed before it you know gets kind of out of control. So I think just having it as a standard order of conditions, whether it needs to be in perpetuity, I'm not sure. This is, I think having a reasonable expectation that, that people are going to be mindful moving around soil and stuff like that and not introducing invasives is important.
Okay, do you want to develop some language? How would you like to proceed on that, Eleanor?
I thought Ethan was going to research some language and come back to us. I think that was the ask. But it sounds like it's come back to us.
Well,
Um,
I think,
Elaine,
I
okay.
think the question that he asked me was just how do we want to approach it? And I could not speak for
Mhm.
you on that.
So I
Elaine,
have Ian's comment here. He says, consider if this would be better suited as a special condition depending on the project rather than a standard one. Also consider if the invasive removal is necessary to protect the wetlands depending on the case. He said he hadn't come across any examples of standard conditions, and I must say, I haven't seen any either. I'd recommend this having it as a special condition to add to an order of conditions when necessary. So to that, I would add perhaps a general condition that talks about, a special condition if you go out to the property and you've got a site visit and you see the knotweed there. A more general condition if you say the property owner shall have an ongoing obligation to control knotweed and other invasive species. And then the property owner shall contact the Conservation Commission office to determine methods for removal. That kind of gives you the best of both. It puts the property owner on notice that this has to be looked into, and then it gives you the specialized treatment once he does look into it.
That language makes sense to me. It seems like perhaps that might be a good approach to take up as a general condition going forward.
I like that approach.
I'm looking at the materials Ethan sent. He did send an example of some language. It's part of the order of conditions for 44 Nahat in tonight's meeting materials. I do like that idea that Elaine brought up about contacting the commission for recommendations on removal. Do you all see what I'm talking about in 44 Nahat, the order of conditions?
That was the one I was looking at before, where I thought it was maybe a little too broad. Like, you wouldn't want somebody telling you to go remove dandelions or so, you know what I like. So I like how Elaine has worded it for the general condition.
I've got it here. I just wrote it out. Property owners shall have an ongoing requirement to remove knotweed and other invasive species. Property owners shall contact conservation agent to determine removal methods.
Okay.
And did that have the word ongoing in it?
It did. It shall have an ongoing requirement to remove knotweed and other invasive species. So that somewhere along the line, you might, with a certificate of compliance, you might have that as one of the continuing conditions.
So this is not something we have to. This is something we would want to adopt as part of future orders of conditions and certificates of compliance. Then.
Yeah.
I think that language makes sense to me.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if you'd want to make a reference to a Massachusetts list of invasive species or something like that, just to, I don't know, put.
My thought would be that the property owner, so there's a site visit, if not by the full commission, at least by the agent. The agent or the commission spots the invasive species, points them out to the property owner. At that point, instead of giving the property owner a whole long list of Massachusetts invasive species, the agent says, here's what you have on your property. Here's what you need to do to remove these particular species. And that's where the fine tuning comes in. And then perhaps prints out the species plus an image so that the property owner has a picture of what he's looking for.
Okay.
I think that makes sense. I mean, I just did a quick search, and out of 725 non-native invasive aliens, of naturalized alien plants, they recognize 72 species as invasive, likely invasive, or potentially invasive. That's a fairly long list to hand somebody.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's fine. We'll just go with Elaine's. I was just
And
trying to limit it to the noxious ones.
yeah, so
I
if you
think
go
that-
out,
that-
if you could just get property owners to do knotweed, bittersweet, and buckthorn, which is not a bad list for property owners, you'd be way ahead of where you are now.
That's true.
Definitely.
And Tree of Heaven.
And Tree of Heaven,
Yeah,
those
they're-
4, and they're easily recognizable, and you could give the property owner, you know, a couple of pages that says, look for these.
And Swallowwort.
That's what, okay, as we keep adding.
we're going to have
Yeah,
that as a
yeah.
problem. It could become a very long list very quickly.
But so when do the site visits, would a site visit normally occur soon after an order of conditions? Because I could also imagine this getting put off till 3 years later when it's like really well established and hard to remove.
Well, this would normally occur when the agent goes to take a look and inspect the erosion control. It's right in the beginning before they start the work, and that would be a good time to do it.
So that would be part of our initial order then.
Yeah, it'd be part of your general orders.
Right, okay. It makes sense to me as an approach to addressing what we're seeing as a chronic problem.
Yeah, let's see how it works out, but at least it's a start.
Right. Yeah, if you could circulate that language to us and to Ethan, and then as we issue new orders, we will make sure that gets tucked in as a standard condition.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, the other item you suggested, Eleanor,
Was it administrative matters, or we could jump ahead to 2 Clyde Court?
yeah,
I think that one would probably be quick.
we should be able to deal with that relatively expeditiously. I mean, we've all walked the site. And I think we've come to a consensus that the fence is appropriate to keep the conservation lands behind the property protected and not have them become part of a lawn. I mean, there is knotweed in a bunch of that land, but unfortunately, the alternative is almost just turned into landscaped lawn. So, thoughts?
Is it possible to change the type of fence? I mean, as I recall, it's a rather tall, white plank fence.
No, this one, that's at the end of the property. The one across the back is just a 2.5, 3 foot high split rail fence.
Oh. And he wants that gone?
They want that gone. And I think basically they'd like to just grow the lawn behind the house. And unfortunately, growing the lawn behind the house means intruding into the conservation area. It's a relatively small area that abuts a stream that essentially is dry right now, but that apparently, according to discussions we had with Bill Renault, empties into a town drain.
Yeah.
When
It
there's
Yeah, I wasn't able, she never emailed me back, so I saw the property kind of from the abutters view. And it's more of their yard that floods. But it is, you know, I'm just not sure why we would overturn a previous conservation commission ruling. It seems like having a fence to separate a, conservation, a piece of the property that's under conservation restriction is kind of an element of how they got the order of conditions. So
Mhm.
I don't know why we would change that.
And I'm inclined to agree with you there, Eleanor. I think
I mean, I think we can help her come up with a plan on invasive removal on her property. But I don't think she needs the fence to be gone to do that.
no.
Right, and I think the function that that land is serving is not so much habitat, because it is, a lot of it is knotweed, but it is serving like a drainage function.
It's funny. So from yours, I couldn't see that. I could see a little bit of knotweed, but from the back, it was pretty nicely wooded.
Yeah, it's wooded in the back, and
Mhm.
then between the woods and the fence, what I thought was a planting area turns out to be knotweed.
Mm,
And then there's also knotweed trying to make its way down into that created wetland,
right,
the rain garden down at the bottom of the slope.
right.
It's, the landscapers cut it down, but that's about all they're doing. It's
Well,
that Clyde Court is 3 houses, and I believe that as a group, either they or the developer who built them contract for landscaping services. It's one common service.
and probably cutting down the knotweed is not the best thing to do.
It's not exactly a good way to eradicate it, that's for sure.
Hmm.
It'll slow it down perhaps if they take the stuff away, but it's not going to do much else for us. So, in terms of what we have in front of us, I would say we could simply turn down the request for an amendment. I'm not sure whether we need to actually take a step to do that.
Elaine, what's the process? Are we supposed to vote no or just turn down the request, or?
So she has requested, it just says here, I'm looking at Ethan's notes. The homeowner has requested to remove the fence.
Right.
So I'm assuming that it was just an email that came in.
Mhm.
It wasn't a filing for an amended order of conditions.
No.
Well, it wouldn't be an amended order of conditions because she's already got, yeah, I guess she has an order. Has she requested an amended order of conditions or just a request to remove the fence? If it's just a request to remove the fence, then a note, you could make a note for the file and a note in the minutes.
Yeah, I think that's the way we should proceed. We can confirm that with Ethan when he's back.
Yep.
I don't believe I've seen any actual filing, but we'll confirm that when Ethan returns next week. And if that's the case, then we'll just add a note to the file that it's been rejected, the proposal.
Yeah, I think it was just an email. I didn't see a
Yeah.
request to amend the order.
Okay. And we can let the landowner know that we've turned it down. Or declined to act on it, actually, I guess, which is same thing in this case. Okay.
It would, I would say it would be nice in this instant for, ideally the agent explains why
Mhm.
we're keeping a previous ruling intact and what purpose it serves. I don't know if that helps, but
Well, may lessen the annoyance factor a bit.
yeah, yeah.
I'll speak with Ethan when he's back.
Okay.
Okay. It is now 7:30. We can move to our next agenda item, which is, well, we discussed moving to the Edgewater Park matters.
Yep. Did we approve the meeting minutes, Paul?
from the two previous meetings? No, I'm sorry, we did not.
Okay.
Two previous meetings, don't we?
Yeah.
I could actually use more time to review those. I sort of
Okay.
put those last on my preparation for tonight, and yeah, if we could put it off till the next meeting, that would be helpful.
Yeah, those are
That's-
those are the two September meeting minutes. They're not going anywhere until we actually act on them, so there's no reason for us to rush. If you need some more time, Jennifer, we'll just pick them up next month.
Thanks.
Oh, actually, next month. 2 meetings out on the 14th, 2 weeks out. So, okay, that's fine. And so are the Edgewater folks ready to address?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, thank you very much for your time this evening. So I'll be speaking on the 4 requests for certificates of compliance at the Edgewater campus. That's 31387, 31388, 313351, and 313484. The property manager for the property was supposed to join me tonight. She's delayed, and I'm not sure she's going to be able to join us, but I will try to fill the gaps as best as possible. So our request tonight is pretty simple. We're looking to close out 4 historic orders of conditions, 2 of which concern work that was never undertaken for an order issued back in 1987, and 2 of which now have expired. My client's currently marketing the property, so this is an attempt to try to clean this up as a title matter as well. So I'll just kind of go through them. I'm happy to take any questions at the end. For Mass DEP files 31387 and 31388, as I said before, these both were orders that were issued in 1987. The work was never completed for either of these orders, and both of them have since lapsed. The locations for these were 601 Edgewater and 701 Edgewater. Again, since work was never completed, they both lapsed. We think issuing a certificate would be appropriate at this time.
So one of them is 701 Edgewater, not 601. Then
That's correct. One of them 601 and one of them is 701.
okay, I'll correct that in our meeting materials for future.
Yeah, and back in 1987, they were referred to as Building 6 and Building 7. They're currently 601 and 701 Edgewater.
Okay.
And then so for 313351 and 313484, these are actually 2 orders of conditions that followed in succession. They were trying to address an issue that actually was first brought before the commission in 1995. These orders of conditions concerned the treatment of herbicide or the use of herbicide treatments for the ponds located on the site. There are 7 ponds on the Edgewater campus. The initial order covered 4 ponds, and then the second order rolled in an additional 3 ponds located near 601 and 701 into the maintenance program. As far as we know, the maintenance program has now been completed by the terms of the orders. These really were aimed at controlling nuisance vegetation and algae using US EPA and Massachusetts DEP registered herbicides and algicides. The 3 latter ponds that were rolled into the program still currently serve stormwater functions and are maintained in accordance with the O&M plan on file. The contract for the actual specific aquatic management program that was governed, or that these OOCs governed, ended in 2021. The ponds are currently in good condition. They've been well maintained throughout the life of the orders. The stormwater continues to be serviced annually. And I've worked with the conservation agent, Ethan Fleming, to have a look at the site. He's reviewed the current conditions and documentation. So as both of these orders have lapsed, we think a certificate would be appropriate for each. Happy to answer any questions at this time.
And when you say a certificate would be appropriate, you're asking for these latter 2 to have a certificate of compliance.
Yes, sir. Well, all four. For the two that work was never done for, and for these two that concern the aquatic maintenance program.
The two with the maintenance program, it makes sense for us to give you a certificate of compliance. But I'm not sure what we do with the certificates in the case of work never done. Elaine, can you help us out there?
I can. This happens every now and again. So it's not that the work was never completed, it's that the work was never commenced. Have I got that right?
Correct.
Okay. So there is a box, literally a box, on the second page of the certificate of compliance, which says, you check it off and it says, work was never commenced. And on that basis, you give a certificate of compliance. And that little box is specifically designed for situations just like this.
So we just issue a certificate of compliance with that box ticked.
Correct.
Okay, that's easy enough. I guess it makes sense that the state would have anticipated that. I'm sure they ran into it a few times before they actually added it to the form.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how often this happens.
Hey, developers change their minds, or people
They do.
projects change their
Things-
mind.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. Well, that's easy enough for those then that are. And the 287, so the two that are completed and are maintained, we issue certificates, and the other two, we tick that box.
Yeah, well, they all get certificates of compliance.
They'll get certificates of compliance. The two from DEP 31387 and 88 get certificates of compliance with that box checked.
Yep.
And they never started the work. And the other two, 351 and 484, we issue certificates because the projects have been completed and closed out at this point. Okay. Questions, Eleanor, Jennifer?
No, I don't think so.
I mean,
Sorry, I may have missed this when you said it, but this maintenance plan was most recently carried out when?
Yes, so it ceased in 2021.
Okay.
But of course, the ponds themselves continue to be maintained, the stormwater continues to be maintained. But this specific program concerned algicides and herbicides. That stopped in 2021.
and I'm not sure we want to start resurrecting that at this point. And you said this is all in preparation for property sale.
Yeah, so this is in an effort, the property is being marketed, so really we're just trying to sort of tick and tie title, make sure everything's covered, and
Makes sense.
here we are.
Clean up all this before you get to a closing and discover, oh,
That's the idea.
I've been there. Thank you. Anything else from commissioners? Anything else from the public? Elaine, anything further to add?
No, I don't.
I guess we need a motion then, probably two. One to issue, well, one motion that covers them all might be sufficient for the 4 projects.
I make a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for DEP 313-87, 313-88, DEP 313-351, and DEP 313-484.
And a second, Jennifer?
I'll second.
Thank you. And I guess all in favor? Eleanor,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
and I vote in favor. So these are now, these will be issued as as requested. The two first ones will be checked that the work was never commenced, and the latter two will actually be issued relating to the work having been completed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you all for your time.
Would we address the salt storage with you? Is this the same property or different?
This is the same property. So my client's property manager was actually going to speak on the salt storage.
Okay.
She might be able to come on towards the end of the meeting. Either that, or she can also connect with Ethan at a later time at the commission's.
I know they provided your client provided us with an image showing where they're placing it.
That's correct.
And they're building a shed to protect it from weather.
Yes.
So, you probably should ask your client to come back another night then. If she arrives later, that's fine. If she doesn't, we can address it at a future meeting. I think it's worth some conversation just to.
Absolutely understood. Thank you very much.
Wait, before you go,
Yes.
I have a favor to ask. So I started looking into this, and because it is in the vicinity of a Class A water body, not only does the Wetlands Protection Act apply, but also drinking water standards apply, salt storage regulations apply. And so what I would like to do is I printed out some stuff for tonight's meeting. I could scan and send this to you if you would give me your email address. So when you come back again, you've had an opportunity to look at it. So for example, there's certain requirements, the way the salt shed has to be constructed. There has to be like an infiltration structure to catch leachate. It has to be on top of a pad, all kinds of things. And the setbacks are a little stricter than 60 feet from the wetlands. So if you could give me your email address, I could send you what I have and you could look it over. Is that all right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll send you an email right now. I'm going to have it.
You know what? I don't get it. Yeah. I tell you what, just give it to me. I don't get into the office until Friday, and at least I'll have it here in my notes if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Also send it to me, but if you could also give it to me now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's ABALDIZON at Golston, GOULSTONSTORRS.com.
All right, may I just repeat all those letters? A is in apple, B is in boy, A is in apple, L is in luck, D is in dog. If I got that, did I get the D right?
Yes.
Z is in zebra, O is in olive, O is in olive, and N is in Nancy.
There's an I after the D.
D-I-Z.
That's right.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your time. Much appreciated.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. And the next order of business probably should be the 735 matter, since we've dealt with that, which is DEP 313654, Michael and Grace Nigro at 11 Beech Tree Circle. This is a notice of intent and public hearing for the construction of a 15 by 18-foot deck, replacement of a concrete walkway and stairs, an extension by 15 feet of the rear grass yard within 100 feet of a wetland resource area. And I see Michael and Grace on screen, so I'm guessing they're prepared to speak.
Actually, I think I'll start speaking, but yes, Michael and Grace are here. John Ogren, Hayes Engineering. We're the environmental and civil engineers for this project. As you stated, we filed a notice of intent for work within the 100-foot buffer. If I might share my screen.
Certainly.
Is that visible?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't,
Pretty small, though, I have to admit.
is it, well, I'll zoom in on
A
it.
little bit as you won't go through it. Let's.
I want to start with the overall. So, Beech Tree Circle, if those aren't familiar, is kind of located over near Montrose Ave. It's off of Whittier Road and Kathleen Lane. It's a cul-de-sac, off of Whittier Road. It was built probably in the, I'd say mid-80s or so. So what we're talking about is 11 Beech Tree. 11 Beech Tree is an existing house, driveway, lawn area. There's a backyard lawn. I don't know how visible it is, but the backyard is actually enclosed in a fence. It's kind of highlighted in yellow. So that area is all been enclosed, and essentially all lawn contained within that fence area. The Nigros just recently purchased the property in July, and they're moving in. They're looking to utilize more of their rear yard for kids, dogs, what have you. So they're looking to the backyard. Basically, it kind of slopes from Beech Tree towards the rear of the property, and it slopes a little bit more as you go into the rear yard area. So they're essentially what they're looking to do is to flatten that rear yard out, and maybe expand the actual extent of the actual yard area. So what we're showing here is, as far as resource areas on the property, we went out and flagged the edge of the bordering vegetated wetland, which is kind of highlighted in green here. I do know that Ethan and Elizabeth from our office did go out and do a site visit to take a look at the line, and there wasn't any real comments about in terms of moving the actual wetlands line. I also have shown on here from resource area standpoint is in blue, this is the 25-foot buffer. So you can see that some of the existing, as I said, the yellow is the existing fence. There are some portions of kind of on the left and the right of the property that currently extend into that 25-foot buffer zone. So, as I said, they're looking to essentially flatten out this rear yard, and then we're going to grade it back down, obviously in the areas where we're filling. We're going to take the fence and the existing fence that's there and move it basically to the edge, kind of the bottom of the slope. And just for reference, the existing fence is a 4-foot high chain link fence, and there would be, whether it actually gets relocated or replaced, that they would replace it with the same type of fence. I should note that we have located trees that are located kind of to the rear of the property, and they are asking that one tree, this 14 and 24-inch twin tree, that this one tree here to be removed. That tree is actually not within the 25-foot, it's outside of the 25-foot. And that's the only tree that they're looking to remove with this work, associated with this work.
And they're not going to be doing filling around the other trees that would damage them that way, then I take it as well, since the trees appear to be further out into the
Yeah, I mean, essentially the fill is just shy of the base of a couple of trees here. I think really it's just this tree here. The other one it's like 2 or 3 feet. And just for kind of get an idea, we're filling in that area probably less than a foot. So it shouldn't have any impact on the tree itself. The actual, the portion that there's more fill going in is further away from those trees. It's kind of up in this area, and probably maximum is maybe 2.5 feet of fill. There are a couple other activities also associated with this. They're
Mhm.
proposing a deck off the rear of the house with some stairs. And then also there's an existing concrete walk that goes from the driveway down to the to the rear of the property. There's a couple steps in that walkway. It's kind of, kind of breaking up, and it needs to be replaced. I think,
That's on the right-hand side of the house, as we.
yeah, as you're looking at it from the street, it would be no, it would be yeah, on this plan, yes, the right-hand side. Oh,
From the
can you,
street.
can you see my cursor, or am I just,
Yep.
am I moving it for no reason?
No, it actually is showing up on our screens, or at least on mine.
I wish it was bigger. I don't know.
How do you get that to work?
So those are the activities that they're requesting to be allowed to perform within the 100-foot buffer. And certainly answer any other questions you might have.
John, where's the fill going to come from? Is it from somewhere on the site, or are you bringing it from off-site?
Yeah, no, it would have to come from offsite.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think they have a source yet.
Okay. And then did you say again how much? You said 1 to 3 feet in places?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it varies. I was just kind of taking the extreme, like in this area here, it's probably about 2.5 feet is the maximum amount of fill. And then obviously tapers off as it slopes down towards the wetlands.
And is it going to essentially, come out, be more or less level with that 170, what am I seeing? 178 foot or 173 foot contour up above? Yeah.
You talking about the top of the,
Yeah.
yeah, that's one,
On the house side of the existing chain link fence, it looks like you have a contour. Okay, so those are 172, 173. And you'll be bringing it up to that same kind of elevation then?
yeah, it's tying into, we're basically taking, in the existing, this is the 175.
Mhm.
We're essentially taking that 175 and moving it to here.
Okay. So the top of slope will be 175 now.
Correct.
There's a fair amount of fill in that part of the yard. And then,
Yeah, and it goes down to, this is 174, and then 173 is essentially the base, the bottom slope.
is this all grassed lawn on both sides of the fence down to where the proposed fence is being located?
No, the grass is really only on the uphill side towards the house. There's some kind of brush vegetation in between the fence and where we're proposing the new fence.
Okay. And it looks like it would end up being roughly at the same elevation as the foundation for that gazebo over there, gazebo and patio to the right.
Yeah, it looks like the gazebo's a little higher. It's like 175 and a half,
175, yeah. Okay.
76. I mean, it kind of varies, but yeah. Yeah, from basically from the back of the house, it's going from 176 to 175. So there'll be a foot across the back of the house.
And then it'll drop to 173 at the
Three.
fence that will form the new boundary to the buffer.
Yeah, it's pretty flat from there. This is the one we got some shots in here. This is the 172. So it flattens right out.
Pretty level from there on out. Okay.
What's going to be the slope? Sorry, on when you put in the fill.
It's a 3-to-1 slope, if that's what you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
My initial take would be, I think I'd like to see the site.
I would too.
No, maybe we can schedule a site visit that works for us and John and his clients.
I can be available whenever.
I think if I remember correctly, Jennifer, your preference is weekends?
Yeah, that works best for me.
Okay, so.
Me too.
Okay.
I'm away. I mean, I'm around this weekend if people are available, like on Saturday.
I can do that.
I could do it earlier in the day. I'm hoping to go sailing with a friend in the afternoon, but, you know, 9 or 10 in the morning on Saturday would work fine. That's,
9:30. Does it split the difference?
yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
John, does that work for you and your clients?
Yeah, that's fine. I can't speak for the client, but it's fine with me. As long as it's not the Friday before the long weekend again, that's all.
Actually, it's the Saturday of the long weekend this time instead, John.
Yep. Well, actually, it's not long weekend no, it's this weekend.
This weekend. It's Monday is the holiday.
That's true. You got me again.
Would you rather we push it off a week, or does that mess up Eleanor and or Jennifer?
That messes me up the following weekend. But
I'm-
but John, maybe we can get a good rain, to keep up the
Good.
tradition.
Yeah,
Good
we
luck.
can rain too.
I think that's
Yeah.
tomorrow. Yeah.
No, I'm fine for Saturday at 9:30.
All right, then let's aim for that. We'll put it on the calendar and
Michael and Grace, are you going to be around that?
Yep, that works for us.
okay,
Okay.
so we'll meet you at 11 Beech Tree Circle at 9:30.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks for flexibility, John. Sorry to mess up your long weekend.
No problem.
Okay, we will continue this until our next meeting with a site visit in between. Okay, great.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, next item is the next item. My goodness, we actually have 7 minutes. Our next item is L&L development. So, do we have anything else we need to deal with yet before we've done Edgewater, Clyde Court, open space? Go ahead, Eleanor.
I would say maybe we can knock out some of the administrative matters. If we have 5 minutes, I just was hoping we could talk as a group and see if it's feasible to get meeting minutes earlier. Like, my preference would be to get them before we set the agenda for the next meeting. Because it's also just a lot to review those in addition to all the filings at the same time.
Judy, is that feasible? I mean, I think you're the person who produces them.
I get them done as quickly as I can. I'm limited to outside of work hours. So I can't guarantee that.
Can we aim for like the Wednesday, the following a meeting?
I can try.
Okay.
Let's try on that basis. That would give you a week. and give us most of a week to, it would give us a day before the agenda, before we have to, a day or two before we have to lock up the agenda. And
Yeah, it just helps us catch if we've missed some kind of follow-up or, it kind of helps frame going into the next meeting.
okay, so Judy will target producing them on Wednesday so that we can get a look at them before we agree on what's in the agenda for the following week. So that get us a little closer to where you want to be, Eleanor?
Yeah, I think that's helpful. Certainly the earlier the better.
Yeah. Are there other administrative matters you want to deal with?
I think, let's see, how much time do we have?
2 minutes.
Would you say 4 minutes?
2 minutes.
Oh, I guess there was just a couple things throwing out to the group to again brainstorm and see if we can make this better or easier. One is getting all the meeting materials on a Friday. That's can be tough. Since there are only 3 of us, and again, it's a lot of filings. Like if there's any way, if we can set that earlier.
I think we would have to set a policy as to when we want filings to be made by.
Yeah.
Because we're operating under the policy set by the commission probably a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Require that all submittals had to be made by Thursday midday. And if we want that up forward in time, we can do that, but we need to take that
Meet
step.
as a policy. Okay. Because I guess the other thing is the way we've, like with the town, the website redesign, I think that's a pain point. I think we have to look at what's on our website because it no longer conveys the scope of what we do. So I would really like to take a look at, some of the materials that were lost on the old site, or see if there's a backup and see if there's any content we can restore. So one, it's a little more clear, what our mission is and why you would go before the Conservation Commission. I think, for instance, we got an email about a different property in town related to tree removal and what the contractor was doing. And then when I looked at our website, I thought, oh, now I understand why he reached out to us, because the way it's worded, it talks about permitting, but it's not narrowly defined. So maybe just as a group, we can revisit that. And then the third thing is the way we have our packages under the old way, where we had a section that listed current filings. As soon as an agent got, say, a stormwater report or something, it could be up there and you could spend time ahead of time, at least getting ahead of the work and looking and refreshing yourself with a filing that's coming, as opposed to like waiting for this, um, you know, just a ton of packages that get sent to us at once. So I know that might be a conversation with the town or whatever.
I think that will probably have to be more of a conversation with the town's IT people.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I see on the materials as materials, they're not separating them anymore.
I'm sorry, Judy, I couldn't understand you. You were breaking up.
I think they only want the materials in under the moving materials, not as a separate area.
It's just our filings are so big. And so when you have a 600 page or an 800 page package, or, if somebody's trying to look at a project, one of the other projects like pack self storage, and they have to hunt for, the filings from 3, 4, 5 meetings ago, you know, I think it lends itself to questions. It's no longer as transparent as it used to be.
Part of the move to the new website is about accessibility, and it could be an issue related to that. I don't think it's a lack of transparency. I think it's more steering towards better accessibility for everyone.
Right. But I would say,
Our documents far less accessible, frankly.
yeah,
No, but for people with disabilities, like visual disabilities, this website enhances that.
but not the PDF packages. If
Well,
it is very hard the way we post them, and maybe we can coach Ethan to put separators.
but he posts them. That's a conversation you have to have with either Jen McDonald or Sherry, because that's how all the board materials are posted.
Okay. I mean, I was told by Jen McDonald that we can organize them a certain way before they're posted.
I don't know. That would have to be a conversation with Sherry because she does the posting.
Perhaps you and I need to talk to Sherry to see whether there's opportunities to address the organizational question.
Mhm.
Although you and I talking to Sherry just brings together a quorum, which becomes.
Right. I think it has to be one or the other. We can figure.
Talk to Sherry, since you have a clear understanding of what you're looking for.
Okay.
And let Jennifer and me know what you've asked for and what kind of a response you've gotten.
I mean, would this be a matter that's really like a deliberation on something before the commission?
It's more of a process issue. We're not really.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't bother me if you two met with Sherry, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really we're only asking for, we're not dealing with anything substantive. We're only asking for the matter to be addressed from a formatting and structural standpoint. I think we're probably going to need some help with that from folks who actually manage the website, because I don't think it's within Sherry's purview. So.
Right, and probably, you know, with Ethan kind of weighing in on, you know, sort of what his timeline is like and process.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why don't we discuss it with Ethan? I'll put it on my notes to talk to Ethan once he's back, when he and I meet for our next meeting. But I think, Eleanor, you're gonna have to articulate just how you want to see it, because I'm not sure just what you're looking for. I'm not sure I
Oh,
understand what
I
you're looking
I think at minimum with the public documents, and I'm not looking at today's, but just in the past, um, you know, that they follow the order of the agenda, that there's a page separator between one filing and the next, so you can tell what, you know, when you've switched sort of filings. It's pretty hard to follow.
Okay.
I mean, when you go to the town council website package, it's always in the order of the agenda.
Okay. Well, we should discuss that with Ethan when he returns next week,
Yep.
and then pick it up to the next stage to try to see if we can actually move it along.
Yep.
There's nothing to happen. All right. Okay. Anything else on that?
Not for now.
All right. Then why don't we move to our next matter? Find the agenda.
It would be,
The next is DEP 313651 LNL Development, 154 to 158 Salem Street. Notice of intent. This has been continued, and I believe the applicant wants us to take it up tonight. Brian, are you speaking?
I am, Mr. Chair. Thank you. For the record, Attorney Brian McGrail representing the applicant. I'm here. It really doesn't need to be taken up tonight. I want to give the commission an update, and rather than sending a letter, when I have the time, I like to prepare personally. The town engineer reviewed the submittal that we made to you, the planning board and the conservation, and the Board of Appeals a few weeks ago, the latest renditions in stormwater. And he got in touch with us and requested more information before he could issue a memo. So we've now provided that to him. We want to make sure it's complete, and if it is, then we'll obviously submit a revised package to you for the record. And I anticipate that all should occur well before the next commission's meeting. So we really don't have anything to add tonight, but again, out of courtesy, I did want to be here to let you know what was going on. And respectfully request that you put it on the agenda for your next meeting in anticipation of revised materials and a memorandum from the engineering department as well prior to then.
We will continue it then to the October 14th meeting. Thank you.
Is it the 14th? Is that a week away, or?
I'm sorry, the October 21st meeting. I'm mistaken.
I was gonna say, because it was the 14th, I don't think we'd be ready.
I don't think we want to meet every week. Doing enough of that with this wetland bylaw and doing separate meetings on that issue. So we're keeping ourselves busy enough. Brian, are you representing Pack Self Storage as well, or no?
I am. That's coming up, and I'll let you know what's going on with that as well. That should be pretty quick too.
Unless there's a reason to wait for your client to join, I would say we could take it up now.
Yeah, there's really nothing of substance. I'm happy to do that, Mr. Chair. I just want to let the board know that the wetlands consultant has been to the site, has done soil testing, as was discussed, and has done his delineation on the wetland, and it's in the process of being put on a plan, which has not occurred yet. So that's all we have. I don't know where it's going to be or what the result will be, but we expect to have that within the next week. So we request that this be put on the agenda for the meeting on the 21st as well.
We can do that. You wouldn't happen to be representing our last formal and fixed agenda item, would you?
No. If it's a continuance, I can handle it for you.
No, it's Gene P. Marcellin. It's a brand new DEP 313 file. Doesn't have a number yet. So I guess we'll have to wait almost an hour for Ms. Marcellin, unless she's present now.
I handled that at the zoning board. I don't know if the engineer is on. I mean, I'm not handling it before your commission, but
I don't know who the engineer might be.
let me see.
You talking about
Talking about 17 Valley Street.
Yes, my name's Dave Newhall. I'm the engineer for that item.
Okay. Oh, David Newhall. Okay. Is your client going to be present and want to speak, or can we take this up now?
Client, I can, sorry, I was not expecting, I just wanted to pull up the plan. Um,
This is, I'll read the rest of the note, the information we have in the agenda, which is that it's a notice of intent, a public hearing for the construction of a garage connecting to the existing dwelling, as well as grading landscaping within 200 feet of the riverfront area. So that's what we have as a general matter here.
Let me just pull up the plan.
I remember looking at this with Ethan. The house is on the opposite side of Valley Street from the riverfront area that is the matter at issue here. And there is no ability to build a vegetative buffer at this location because of the road being in between. And from that, I'll let you go ahead, David.
Let me share my screen. Okay, for the record, David Newhall with Homestead Consulting Engineers here on behalf of the applicant for 17 Valley Street. As you had mentioned, it is off property. It's below here, so we have Valley Street right here, and then on the other side of the road, behind the houses that are across the street, is where the mean annual high water line is for the associated perennial stream. And then we have the 100-foot buffer for the riverfront, and then the outer 200-foot riverfront area here that goes onto our property. This light gray here is the existing house, and then this darker line with the light orange is the proposed addition. We are proposing within area of everything that we are proposing is already within disturbed area. So we have a subsurface dry well that will take the stormwater from the roof of the addition. There's about 100 cubic feet of storage that will within the dry well that will recharge the roof runoff from the addition. All this work is in already degraded riverfront area. There's no new disturbance within the riverfront, and the storage from the for the dry well is enough to take the rainwater from the proposed addition. We don't have a DEP file number yet. We did send it into DEP. They do have acknowledgement that they've received the application. They just have not yet reviewed the application yet, so we won't be able to act on anything tonight. So we understand we will have a continuance, but we did want to get the feedback and any questions that the commission might have.
Okay. So this is a deck and what else in the addition? I'm sorry.
It's a proposed garage.
Garage and deck.
Mhm.
Okay. And much easier to see at that scale. Thanks.
Mhm.
And the area's been disturbed. Is it paved as well? Now, it looks like I see a
it-
stone retaining wall in the drawing of existing conditions, so I presume you're gonna be removing some of that to and leveling the site to put in the garage then?
Yeah, it'll be removal of the stone retaining wall that's within the footprint of the garage. That the new foundation will act as kind of the retaining wall now or in the proposed condition. So limited site grading. The garage and addition foundation will act as the retaining wall, as the previous stone retaining wall did. There's the existing paved driveway here that will then go into the new garage.
Looks like the existing paved driveway is at an elevation of about 116.5 feet. Is the plan for the garage to be essentially down at that level then as well?
Yes.
Okay. And the stairs go down or go up from the garage to the deck and residence?
They go up.
They go up, okay. Well, we can't do a lot with it tonight. I will ask my colleagues, do you want to schedule a site visit now, or you want to wait until we have a file number and then plan for a site visit sometime after our next meeting?
I'm ready to do one.
Well, we go take a look at the site at least, if that's convenient for you and your client, David.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great to get that scheduled and at least move forward with that piece as we wait for DEP's review of the application.
Okay. We have one right now in our schedule, and that's at 9:30 this Saturday. Am I right about that?
That's right.
Yes.
So we could set it for 10:15.
Could you all do earlier? Like 9?
What time?
Like 9?
Oh, sure. 8:45 or 9, fine.
Yeah, I could do 8:45.
I'd give ourselves 45 minutes between appointments, only to, half hour of site and then 15 minutes of making.
Okay.
So 8:45 Saturday morning?
Sure.
Yeah.
David, would that work for you and your client?
I don't think they'll have an issue with it. It works for me on my end. I'll get in touch with them on that.
Elaine, can you circulate just or Judy, one of you, please circulate the appointments for these two, just so we get them right in terms of which one we're at first. I'd hate to show up at the wrong place. Our other one's 11 Beech Tree, right?
All right, so it's this, I'm sorry. Since I wasn't going, I didn't really pay that much attention. So it's this Saturday?
Saturday, the 11th.
Saturday, the 11th, and which is first at 8:45?
Is the one we're on right now.
Which is, okay,
17 Valley.
yep, 17 Valley.
And then
And the other one is 9:30, right?
that's at 9, actually 17 Valley is at 8:45, and at 9:30 we're doing the 11 Beech Tree.
Okay, so I get into the office on Friday. I'll send it on Friday afternoon.
Fine.
Well, Judy can take care of it. Right?
Judy, you gonna do this? I'm just confirming. Judy, are you gonna take this?
I already did it.
Already
She
up.
already did it. There you go. That's Judy.
Right.
So
Great, thank you.
Thanks,
all
Judy.
right,
We're good.
okay.
So 17 Valley at 8:45 and 11 Beech Tree Circle at 9:30 this Saturday, October 11th. All right, I think we're good with those. David, if there's any issues, just let us know, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Did we already continue our hearing to another date?
We will continue it to the 21st, which is our next meeting, if that works for you and your client.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
We'll see. I don't know whether it be you or your client or both of you at the site on this Saturday, the 11th at 8:45.
Absolutely, I'll be there, and I'll get in touch with them to let them know. So I appreciate everybody's time here tonight, and we'll see you this weekend.
Okay. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
All right. Now we're on to, we've gotten through we're down to open space and recreation plan, the plan that never goes away. This plan will be on to writing our next one before we get this one done at the rate we're going, guys. Eleanor, you're on mute, unfortunately.
Just trying to mute my cough. Did you put this? Who put this on the agenda?
I think Ethan and I discussed.
Yeah, it was rolled from last time.
Okay.
Been rolling on and on and on.
So I had sent Ethan 12, like 12 pages of comments back in July, and he added a few things. He sent me back an email, which I can read to you. But he said, here's the doc for the inventory in the spreadsheet. I added from the last meeting, town forest, action plan and conservation land chart, edited public comment section as discussed, fixed Linfield rail trail typo, to be added by consultant 94 Butler Ave, 0 Quantapowhat, fixed lower common label, and then he asked me to read through and add the remaining edits. 4 missing rare species, Spalding Playground, and then any other remaining edits you'd like to make. So I didn't do that. I don't want to have multiple people editing the document. I don't know if you looked at it, it's still misnumbered. The table of contents is off. I mean, I think these are pretty.
That reformatting has to be done by the consultant.
Yeah.
I think that was discussed before.
That kind of stuff. We've discussed that before, that it has to go back to the consultant who did the work in the first place to actually do that kind of formatting revision. We can do, I guess we can do text, but we're limited in terms of our ability to modify it.
For the pages, like, because when it came to us, it had some page issues. It just got worse. Like where the pages restarted when you got to the appendix. Right? So it's pretty significant.
When you say where the page is restarted, do you mean that the page numbering goes?
Yes, the original one we got, it restarted anyway when you got to certain appendices, and then it restarted again with the accessibility stuff that was on. So it was already an issue to begin with, but it just got worse. Like whatever, if you pull it up on your screen, you can.
But I think you talked about that, the commission did, that the consultants would fix that, because these are for the comments to go to the consultant and then to come back to the commission to review.
So you want that to go to the consultant, okay. But if Ethan didn't take the edits, do we want to add those after they come back from the consultant?
No, it sounds like they need to be made before they go to the consultant because anything that gets edited may change the page numbers in the table of contents.
That would make sense to me, yeah. If we're adding text, that's gonna change where things fall on pages.
I think the other, go on, sorry.
No, that's all. I mean, it sounds like you have some fairly substantial edits you want to incorporate into the document.
I mean, they were more error corrections, right? I think the substantial edits would be, you know, right now the plan needs to be reset. The timeline needs to be reset because we have a start date of 2024, which was passed, right? So I think if you look at the open space comments we received, and maybe we should go through and talk about those. I think Ethan sent those out. But we had some questions on the timing of the plan. I don't know, Judy, if it's possible to make it kind of simple and just have year 1, year 2, as opposed to having like a fixed date that goes by and is no longer valid.
Well, I think it has to have a fixed date since it has it has a start date and an end date.
You can't do like year 1 from the approval date.
I don't know how you would undo the preliminary approval you've already received. And if it's a 10-year plan, then you still have those added years if you want to make edits before the 10 years elapses.
Okay, but we've lost 2 years.
Right.
Okay, do we want to go through the open space comments that we got?
You mean the Julie Scott letter or something else?
There was that Ethan forwarded us a spreadsheet. It's called Conservation Export Open Space. I didn't know what that was, but it was the comments that we received through the form because we asked for feedback.
Okay.
Did you guys not see that?
Yeah, I do. I have that.
Okay.
It's an Excel spreadsheet.
Yep. And then I saw one from an individual that was an attachment, which didn't come through. So I emailed him and asked him to forward it to the commission. And I flipped that to us all.
That was in addition to the Julie Scott letter?
Yes, I think I sent it this morning from the commission mailbox.
Yeah, I've got a Conservation Commission email from tonight at 5:12. This morning.
Did not come through. 8:24.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, there's a PDF. This is prioritizing pocket parks. And unhappy with the notion of a park on town-owned land adjacent to Quantapowhat Yacht Club.
I don't think there is across from the yacht club.
I think in the action plan, you have that area circled.
There was a person had requested one on the other end of the lake. I think near where the state-owned land is. I don't know where it would be near the Quantapowhat Yacht Club.
If you look on the action plan map, it has that area of the lake circled, like as for locations of prioritized pocket park.
I don't know, but I would imagine it was a suggestion from someone.
And we had this letter is from 2 residents of Linda Road.
Yeah, I think they might have been concerned because there was some noise when that issue came up. I thought,
But we talked extending, making trails. And then that was, it turned into they were just gonna do stormwater work. Bill Reynolds was doing that. They wanted to extend the trail from Beacon all the way down. I think that's what they were thinking. But that never happened. They, I think that was part of Bill's proposal, but they ended up just proposing, I think, the stormwater. Because the residents didn't want the trail extended.
it would go through the cemetery though to get to the residents.
No, I think it was beyond that. I don't. Because I think there's a fence on that end of the cemetery, isn't there?
Yeah, well, it sounds like
It was down further than the cemetery.
Hmm.
But that was abandoned because the neighbors didn't, that was at a town council meeting, I think.
yeah, but then so should we still have it in the plan if it was already abandoned?
It's, I think it's listed under objective 2B, number 1, Pocket Parks ad, and it lists some, and it says Quanah Parkway / North Ave, which I think is probably the one the writer's referring to.
I think the Quanapowhat Parkway North Ave is the one that's going to go in with 50 Quanapowhat.
Mm.
But the whole area was circled.
There's a
to-
there's a big loop in the map in the action plan, the 9.1 action plan map. But it's not at all clear where other than the big loop, not really clear where
it's going, yeah.
where the proposed project would go. I think that's what's gotten folks concerned. I can share my screen, I think, and show you what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Back. All right, share. Okay, so you can see it here on this this map. It's this whole the area I think that's of concern is this whole area,
Yeah.
that northwest corner of the lake, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some areas that are marked in pink, and that's recreation and conservation lands apparently. And then the cemetery is next to that. That's that large orange and green block.
Orange and green.
Well, it's orange on the map here where my cursor is pointing to.
Oh, just below your circle. Yeah.
That's cemetery. It's the historic cultural district actually along the lake. And then the 2 pieces of conservation or town land.
Mm-hmm.
Recreation, I guess they're more recreation and conservation than conservation, are these 2 parcels here from what I can see.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a very small piece of what would be in purple as recreation right there on the point. And is there some kind of...
There's a yacht club there.
Is that QYP? Okay.
Yes.
QYC.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
I see an arrow coming into that suggests a protection overlay district that limits the use of fertilizers in the watershed and encourage more green infrastructure projects. And then, but then 2B1 is the one prioritizing locations for neighborhood pocket parks to diversify and expand recreational opportunities. And it's basically that area up at the northwest part of the lake. The Albion Street to Crystal Lake area. And this area basically due south of the lake down along 129 and going down, you know, towards Nahant Street.
Yeah. I mean, I've always personally had an issue with the prioritizing pocket parks. I think it makes sense where, you know, a project naturally occurs and they're going to happen, and we're getting one with 50 Quanapawet. We already have 2 playgrounds around Lake Quanapawet and lots of opportunities for recreation down by Crystal Lake. We're getting the one with the decommissioned energy site, right? That Burns Street substation they're turning into a pocket park. But we have something like 22, 23 essentially playgrounds in Wakefield, which for the area amounts to, you know, if you take that number and divide it by the area, like 7.5 miles, it's basically there's a park within a third of a mile of everyone in theory.
Right, but
Um,
pocket
but
park will be greening of an area too, like the ones proposed at the Oak Street and Green Street intersection refurbishment that Bill's undertaking.
yeah, so they're
So it's gonna be a pollinator garden, so that's considered a pocket park.
right. So it's good, but we have, say, 23 playgrounds we're not investing in. You know what I mean? That need some, um, they need to be sort of refurbished. I mean,
Right, but that's, I think, a different issue than.
I don't know why they wouldn't be combined, just sort of assessing our recreational areas and, you know, to me, maintaining what we have. That seemed to come from the survey that people were concerned we weren't maintaining what we have. Um, you know, when you look at our playgrounds and
That
things like,
counts as capital expenditure too.
what's that?
That would count as a capital expenditure. Refurbishing playgrounds.
Right. But shouldn't we have a plan to maintain and improve our playgrounds as opposed to like allowing a tennis court to sit unrepaired for 20 years and not usable?
But I think they have plans in the works for Maple Way. They were doing stuff at JJ Round. I think Bill has I mean, there are plans. I think it's just a matter of funding, really.
Yeah. But shouldn't they have been, I guess, I would say part of the open space and rec plan as opposed to just focusing on pocket parks? That's where I'm.
I don't think there's such a strong focus on pocket parks, though.
I mean, it's one line here.
Okay.
I don't know that it's worth the half an hour of our meeting time.
Okay.
I mean, I would say at this point, given where we are with this plan, we should make some decisions about where the text needs to actually be edited. Unless we want to delete that recommendation to B1 completely from the document. And if we do that, then I would say we take this note on this map off. But again, that would be something the consultant would have to do. We can do that if you feel strongly about it, Eleanor. And I have to admit I'm somewhat indifferent if we say prioritize locations. It leaves it pretty open and vague in my mind.
Let me go
Especially
back.
when it's large sort of looped areas on the map. Vaguely defined areas on the map, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think we had talked about softening the language before, and because before it was roll out a pocket park, prioritize rolling out a pocket park every year.
Mhm.
And
Right.
that, to me, I think would make more sense to soften, right?
Yeah,
Because
I don't see that in here. I don't know.
anymore. Okay.
That's open to that point, but
Sorry, I'm just trying to get back to it too. Okay. Do you want to go through the other comments?
I'd say let's get them done and finish it off, because I would really like to get it back to the consultant for an attempt at a final version that we could submit. I mean, we were only 2 years late. No,
So would the plan be that you would take it back to town council?
I think so. I think we're gonna have to do that next, right? I'd consult with our new town manager before I did it, but it seems like that's probably the appropriate step.
Um,
And how substantial our edits are.
right.
They've
Well,
seen it, they've marked it up.
I think there were, um, so sorry, if you go back to the comments, Paul, so are you saying you want to ignore the comments or you want to address comments or what?
Address the comments now.
Okay.
Is that the spreadsheet here?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna move you guys over a little bit further to the side. Can I do that? Yeah. Gets us a little bit. Better. So. The first comment suggests that the telling people to focus on 10-year action plan doesn't actually help because it's not there. There's
Okay,
the
yeah.
number 10-year action plan, but there's not
Right.
a year.
Right.
Okay.
So Ethan can address that.
I think the easy way to do that is to correct the text.
Correct. Right. But these are kind of basic things, you know.
Right. That's what we want, right?
Yes, for Ethan to correct that.
That's simple enough. Okay, and then we're moving on to the next one.
Sure.
There needs to be more enforcement of fishing being prohibited specifically at Crystal Lake. I don't believe that is something we have any authority over. Do we?
No, I believe it's the water
Yeah.
department.
And there are police calls all the time. People are calling about that constantly.
Yeah.
I think it's funny though, they allow fishing at Spot Pond, which is a secondary drinking source, and they allow boating, but they don't allow it at Crystal.
Is Crystal a primary drinking source?
No,
So that's the difference, I guess.
We use about 10% of it for our drinking, like it gets mixed in.
Gets mixed in with the MWRA water.
Hmm.
And it's so basically
It is drinking water supply.
right. It's drinking water supply. I guess the question is this something we can address?
I think in an open space plan, you can have, you know, something like, and it may already be addressed in our plans. We have to double check, but educate people about the importance of protecting, you know, water supply and, you know, enforcing rules around that. But I think that could be like just rolled into an overall theme on water quality. I'm having a hard time switching back and forth because I'm limited to one screen. Um,
Yeah, I am as well, actually.
so I think making sure we've, um, people seem to care about the lake and the water quality, and just, making sure that that's addressed, I think is good.
Okay, do we want to specifically make a mention of fishing enforcement here, or is it more of a broad comment?
I think to me it's a broader sort of education effort, because we can't really we can't enforce that. I don't know. Judy, what do you think?
There might be some mention already, I'm not sure. But
Okay.
yeah, enforcement, that's up to the police. That's nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think we want to start opening up a conservation police department.
No, 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 no.
DEP, does DEP have conservation cops here? I know in New York, there are Department of Environmental Conservation cops. And they're peace officers, actually.
They're out there all the time at Crystal Lake.
What's that?
I think it's the environmental police.
Oh, you do see them at Crystal Lake?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know if people are calling all the time. I don't know.
But I absent an active patrol there on a daily basis, I think it's unlikely to deter people from going in there to fish.
Well, people litter there too.
Yeah,
That
that's
was-
probably yours.
That was also a really popular item on the Vision 2030 survey, was protecting areas like Crystal Lake.
Hmm.
There's a lot of support for that. So
Yeah. And all that equipment is stored kind of right near there, and there's a lot of chatter about that too.
This is town equipment.
Yes.
Should we add a note to better manage or protect against potential spills from town equipment stored near the lake? Or do we avoid starting a fight with our colleagues in
I
DPW?
think we avoid a fight, but make a broader educating people about protecting, our natural drinking water, our drinking water supply, that type of thing.
looking at the objective 4B, number 8. Well, this is projects identified by the Clean Lake Committee to improve water quality. Oh, that's at Lake Quannapowitt.
Yeah, sorry. And I did find out the pocket park a year. Where did it go? It was number 5. 2B5. That was a rollout a pocket park a year. Anyway, we can think about that.
Do we want
So,
to do anything with the second comment about the walking path along Lake Q? And
Um,
I don't think we're going to go.
No.
there.
no, because I think we want to protect as much of the remaining buffering vegetation that's left.
Right. And I think that is, and certainly putting a dual use walking, running and bike lane around the lake.
We have one.
Yeah, it's a little further from the lake shore than what this person might want.
Yeah.
I think that's correct. So we aren't going to take up this comment at all.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next comment don't know why year one is 2024, which is basically over. Well, that is a problem.
Yep.
I mean, that's why we're trying to do this tonight.
Yep. I mean, I think if we start it at year 2026, that's probably more realistic since it's October.
Probably is.
And then she wants to initiate the trees sort of earlier. Tree management planning.
The town has a comprehensive tree management plan between the forestry department and the light department in terms of replacement. Was that along North Ave?
Yeah.
I think that was addressed because there's no way to put them.
Sorry, Judy, you're kind of hard to hear because you're breaking
Your
up.
microphone is a bit problematic, Judy.
I think that was addressed, that there's no area to place them on North Ave. That's
They made the sidewalk too wide. Yeah. Like if you wanted to keep the trees, you needed to have a narrower sidewalk in places.
Yeah.
further down, there's
Right
not-
down the prospect for a bike lane on North Ave as well as a tree planting along by putting in that crazy wide sidewalk on the lakeside.
Yeah. Just going back though does our action plan focus on preserving tree canopy? Because I feel like that's an issue in our town sometimes. Sorry, when I look at that.
I don't think we want to add anything further in terms of planting, so I'm just going to not stop right there.
Yeah. No, not planting, but tree preservation as opposed to like tree planting. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's the bigger issue is we cut down these mature shade trees and think, okay, well, we can just replace them. And
Unfortunately, most of that happens on private lands too.
So there's objective 4B, number 6.
What did that say, Jennifer?
Conduct a comprehensive inventory of the town's public trees and develop a long-range management plan for the health of the town's canopy, including protocols for new plantings and
perfect.
tree removal and replacement.
So that's in there already.
Yeah, I think her comment is why are we waiting till year 4 to do that? But anyway, okay.
I have no idea. We could change that.
Year 2.
No, that doesn't do this.
I know. It would really make sense to have Ethan here since he's the one who's owning this document. But go back. Sorry.
And you said, Jennifer, that is what place in the plan?
That's in 4B, number 6. And that is to be led or supported by DPW. So I guess what I'm looking at is what, is it a matter of, kind of spacing things out so that not everything falls on one department all at one time?
Mhm.
So I'm just kind of looking back at the earlier targets.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
This next one is basically just compliment. I don't think we need to do anything with that.
Okay.
You see the attached letter.
I think that was the one you looked at earlier, the Linda Road pocket park thing.
Is it?
That was the email.
Unfortunately, I cannot open this file through the link that's coming up.
Huh.
I get that kind of a message. You can,
Oh, it shows up on my, so you weren't able to read it?
nope,
Oh, I'm trying to read it off my phone. Um, we're writing to you regarding our opposition related to the proposal prioritize locations to neighborhood pocket parks shown on map 9-1 action
no,
plan.
that's the next letter below.
Oh, that one, that's the one that you couldn't open. That's why I reached out and said I
That's
can't
what-
open it.
what-
Yes.
So in other words, this link here up on the top right on my screen is this letter here.
The link.
Okay.
I
And it's
can't see the
essentially
top
the
right of your screen.
same, another person on Linda Road who does not want, a park
Yeah.
along
Yeah.
Lake Quannapowitt.
Yep. And then the last one was
The last one is
4B5, prioritize improvements to areas that,
experience chronic flooding.
is she saying she wants us to change that or we?
Develop a schedule based on current and planned resources and conduct a comprehensive survey of town's public trees. Oh, this person is supporting those two items in particular. Those are already there in the plan, 4B5 and 4B6. So
Okay.
just an expression of support.
Okay. Oh, got it. Okay.
And then these are some others which looks like it's the same stuff.
Continue.
Yep, it's the same stuff. So let's not.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
Okay, I think we've gone through all the comments.
Okay.
And I mean, other than putting exclamation points after 4B5 and 4B6, I don't think there's much else we can do to indicate that we have public support. So Eleanor, if you have edits.
I would like Ethan to incorporate the ones I sent him from July. And then I'll
I don't think I've ever seen those, so I can't speak.
Okay. I can forward them to you.
If you would.
Yeah. I mean, and then I think, we did get a letter earlier this evening, so I think there were some questions raised. I don't know how we,
The Julie Scott letter?
yeah, I don't know.
I think we have to start applying our Thursday threshold to Ms. Scott. I mean,
Well, did the subcommittee vote to approve I mean, I guess that's this plan, like if we didn't follow, a process or we didn't address the questions that were raised by the town council, is that going to be an issue, in taking this back to town council?
go ahead, Judy.
The issues the town council raised were addressed.
Which ones?
All of them. This was discussed, I don't know, a couple of months ago. You went over all of them.
I think the ones that were addressed were the Bob Vincent ones that were pretty easy to address, like the labeling the schools.
I think they were all addressed.
The survey questions, no? I mean, I guess we can't address that.
What, I don't know what you're referencing with that, the survey questions.
The survey questions that Counselor Carney had said, I don't understand why you asked these survey questions.
Oh,
Makes sense to me, I'm suspicious, like that type of thing. I don't know how you.
right, you can't undo the survey.
Say in response to something like that.
Well, yeah, like what is our response to something like that? It's not our plan. We're trying to, make it as good as we can.
I think this, other than Judy, this plan was drafted by people who are no longer actively engaged with the Conservation Commission.
Mhm. Okay. And then I did notice on his inventory, I guess this is a question for you, Judy, when he added town forest, were you saying it was already part of the emerald necklace?
It's
Because,
when the emerald necklace is identified, I think it's part of that. I'm not sure.
okay, because we have to go back and look at that, because then he could be double counting the land, so then it suddenly looks like 140 acres versus 100 acres made up of JJ Round and um, Town Forest that make up the emerald necklace. And I'm not sure people in Wakefield know what that term means. Like, I don't know, Jennifer, like, does that ring a bell to either of you? Would you?
I mean, I think I've come across it through the open space plan, but Emerald Necklace, that's the name of a series of parks in Boston.
Right.
Right. That's why it's kind of confusing.
Bob Revis came up with it probably, I don't know, 15 years ago.
Who did?
Revis, the previous town planner.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, we could always like
They
asterisk
just borrowed
that.
it from the city of Boston, which has had it as an emerald necklace for 100 years.
Okay. It's just
That's what
confusing.
Olmsted called that.
Yeah.
That park network in Boston.
Yeah. Okay. And then I guess I got from Bill, we'd asked Bill if he had comments on the, or I had asked Ethan if Bill had commented on the Article 97 stuff. And Bill brought it up to me recently, and he said they prepared a list because they thought our list was wrong. So, do we need to address that?
So Bill Renault has his own list of Article 97 properties. Is that what I'm hearing?
He was saying he reviewed the open space and rec plan and sent Ethan a listing of like parcels where they made comments and they disagreed with the Article 97 designation of a few of them. So his engineers had prepared it and sent it to Ethan. I don't think we saw it, so I don't know. We never looked over it as a group. I asked,
I'll see if I can
like that.
yeah, I asked Ethan to forward it along to us, but again, this was like so many months after we had been talking about it, so I would have to refresh myself on it. I know the big thing was like Nahant Street Pit, like we have that in our open space plan as Article 97. They don't think it is.
Sure, they don't want it to be.
Yeah, like I somebody's right.
Elaine, can you track down that list or that?
Oh, I have it in here. Yeah, I have it with a star in the margins. Where is it? I'm going to be looking for it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And then,
so,
oh, I'm sorry, Eleanor, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay, so I'm trying to sort of take whatever notes I can on the open space plan for Ethan's benefit. So
Yep.
what I have from you, Eleanor, is to incorporate the comments that you sent in July. And then with regards to what you've all been discussing this evening, are you going to be preparing another list of comments from this spreadsheet that you'll be sending to Ethan?
I think we reviewed it and it didn't change substantially, but
So all of these things we've been discussing tonight, I just want to make sure that Ethan will be able to access them and act accordingly. So I'm wondering if there's going to be anything in writing or if I should tell Ethan to access the recording.
Well, looking at what I've written into this column I, Elaine, I have basically two items that need to be addressed with something added into the plan, into the OSRP. Otherwise, everything else is, I mean, we're not going to take on a fight about Quantapowhat.
Okay, so
fight
your
about Quantapowhat.
comments that you've put in the spreadsheet, will you forward that to Ethan so he has it?
Yeah, I'll do
Okay.
that.
All right.
Sorry,
And
The two are item 2 in this first row, which is row 4. And we actually have also Crosby Road's comment. We want Ethan to correct tenure to tenure,
mhm.
which is a fairly simple typographic thing.
okay, so I just want to make sure Ethan has whatever you're looking for in writing. And so I have Eleanor, comments sent in July, Paul, comments in the spreadsheet, which will be forwarded to Ethan.
Right.
And then for me and Ethan together to find that list of Article 97 parcels
Right.
from the engineering department.
Right.
Okay.
And I think you have to look at the land totals again too, because we added town forest. And if it's already in the emerald necklace piece, that I couldn't tell, then you may be double counting.
Okay, was town forest included in Article 97 plus emerald necklace?
Yes,
I think that's the question.
it's two different things. Sorry, Judy, and I thought of the two things that came up at the town council meeting twice. It was that we were putting we were essentially asking town council or town administrator to commit dollars to certain things, and they were uncomfortable with that. So like hiring a recreation director or rolling a pocket park out every year. So I thought the ask was to figure out how to soften that stuff so that you could achieve your goals, but it wasn't like we have to allocate funding to do these things. See here, it's in our open space and rec plan. Elaine, did you? Oh, I thought you froze for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I mean, and just as a side note, I was doing some research, and it seems like you can't, like towns are not eligible for funding if lands are not protected. Like for some of these grants through DCS.
You mean their funds are only available if the town has actually officially protected the land as Article 97 land?
That's what I wanted to find out from Elaine. So for example, like you can apply for a grant to improve a playground, right? There are grants available for that.
Okay.
But the state may not give that to you unless it's protected. So what does that mean? Does it have to be a designated park? Does it have to have the Article 97 designation? You know, it sounds like if it's just held, for example, by DPW, that wouldn't be enough.
All right, let me find out what I can find. I've got that.
Okay.
I'll look that up and get back to you on that, Eleanor.
Okay.
Yeah, let us all know on that one.
Okay.
That That's an important consideration, because if that's the case, we want to persuade our brethren to take steps to put the proper designation on lands that we think we might be wanting to ask for money to support.
Yeah, like that's, I was kind of curious why our playgrounds don't have that. Like I thought playgrounds were sort of automatically protected. Um,
Are you saying that they would have to be specifically designated as open space in order to be able to qualify for state funding?
well, this is what it's a little
Where
vague.
did where did you get the information?
I was Googling, like what, you know, how do you, like what grants are you eligible for? Can you apply for to improve a park, right? And then it lists these different DCS grants, and then you go into it and it says, oh, but you know, you have to make sure the park is like, you know, it's protect, whatever it is, your land is protected. You can apply for the grant, but you have to provide evidence that the land is protected.
Right.
And
Okay.
so that's what, you know, so in that Google search, that's where they talk about like, oh, it's an issue if your open space plan doesn't have like the right designation, because you could apply for funding, you know, to upgrade a park and then find out, or whatever it was, a parcel, do some project that it's not protected. What I don't know is what I started researching is being in the care of a municipality sufficient designation for protected, or what's the next step? And if you look, so this took me down a rabbit hole, because if you look at the um, open space workbook, like the most current one from 2025, they have sort of a work list, and they group lands, you know, differently. It's land that's protected in your town, and then it's land held by municipalities but used for you know, conservation recreation purposes, that's not protected. So they have like 3 different buckets, and then privately held. So I think that second bucket of municipally held but not protected,
Mhm.
all of that would be ineligible for funding. That's my concern. And so it does make the case stronger to, you know, make sure these places that we care about are protected. But I would want to get the right information about that.
Yeah, and we would also have to determine if the properties we're concerned about are properties that have already been protected. Because some of them may well be protected, some may not be, and I think we need to distinguish between the two.
Right. Well, it's like the level of protection. You know, we were
Yeah.
looking at that, like with to Arundel Ave, it says in the deed it's for recreation purposes. You know,
Mhm.
that shows intent. Is that quote unquote, Elaine, like a deed restriction?
Yeah, that's the way I read it. Eleanor and I were talking about to Arundel last Friday, and we saw that in the deed and in the town meeting vote that the parcel was purchased for the purpose of recreation in perpetuity, and it's in the deed. So yes, I would call that a deed restriction.
I would say so, yeah.
Does it say in perpetuity? That's the only, we have to go back and look.
I think we have to go back and look, but I seem to remember in perpetuity. But good question. Never hurts to double check.
Yeah. So, you know, you have something like that that's A level protection, and then you have Article 97, right? So can you only get funding for Article 97
I'll find out.
property? Okay.
Find out.
Because I think that's important information,
I think it is too.
Part,
So I don't know a lot about grants, so I won't pretend I know a lot about grants, but I will do a lot of reading and see what I can find out and send it around.
Thank you. That would be
yeah,
helpful.
thank you. And their water protection grants too, I was looking at. So if you want to, like theoretically, if we wanted to do any kind of restoration work or something like around Lake Quannapowitt or Crystal Lake or something like that, Mill River, again, a parcel would have to have some protected status to qualify for that.
Do you really, I'm not sure I really ever considered Lake Quannapowitt as, or the Mill River as a parcel in the same sense that I would consider a piece of land.
Oh,
to
no,
be-
I meant like a piece of land adjacent to one of those water bodies.
All right, let me see what I can find.
Yeah. I'll send my list of the different grants.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Yeah. Because I mean, in theory, that's why we have an open space plan. So
Yeah,
part of the reason.
okay. Okay, got it.
Okay. Anything else on this, Eleanor?
Not for now.
Okay. I'll send this over to Elaine and Ethan. I don't think this last one, last comment, there was really nothing. Is the town talking about buying any additional land around Crystal Lake? I have no idea.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know how many parcels are, I know there are a bunch of watershed already. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the only reason I asked the question, Judy, is this last comment is specifically referencing 4B9, which says continue to support the permanent protection of land around Crystal Lake, including acquisition.
Yeah.
And I have no idea whether there's any. We're certainly not about to embark on an eminent domain campaign to take further properties around Crystal Lake, I presume.
No,
So,
but I
not
think
going
we'd
to
have
do
to be
that.
able to speak to that, right?
Yeah. The question is, who would be doing that acquisition? Who would be in charge of it? It's the Parks Department? Certainly not us.
Well, I mean, when you read through like the open space planners book, you're supposed to kind of identify parcels that the town would want that you think would be important to acquire once they become available, right?
Mhm. So this is in its own way being essentially responsive to that potential.
Yeah, but I don't know how that works because I don't know if you'd want to show your cards kind of thing.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
oh, I want to buy this big property right next to the lake.
subject to the availability of funds.
Yeah.
And, the willingness of the town to undertake further land acquisition and management.
Yeah.
Both of which I think are issues we'd be facing.
Yeah. Okay.
So we could just simply delete the words including acquisition.
Judy, do you have the history on that? Like, would you be okay with?
That's fine with me. And I don't know. It's not up to me. Whatever you guys want to do.
Well, we just can't speak to it. So, I mean, it could have been put in for a good reason, but if Paul is asked, I don't think we have an answer.
I'm just looking at what we've got on the map here from the OSRP. There is a fair amount of protected land already around Crystal Lake.
It's not, it's held, well,
The
I guess
water
that's,
supply protection is all this dark blue area. Which
But-
is,
oh, let me look at my inventory because it's held by the DPW.
okay,
Just see. I'd have to look at those streets.
but I'm not sure DPW can do much with it except use it as water supply protection because it's adjacent to waters that they use as water supply. Because I presume they run the water supply system here ultimately.
Yeah, I remember looking at some of the parcels, and I think some are water supply, and some are just DPW. I'd have to.
Well, there's
Um,
the comment there. The one that was highlighted by the commenter. I mean, I can see someone trying to fill in some of those blanks between town parcels and the lake or between town-owned parcels, but
like
you're gonna
that.
touch the part of it that's in Stoneham, so.
Yeah, no, probably this area, just to the south that's still in Wakefield.
You mean this area here?
Yeah, to the right of that.
You mean over here?
Yes, yes.
I have no idea what that area is, whether
Yeah.
it's residential or whether it's vacant land.
I don't know. There were some slots on around Crystal Lake on the housing list.
Hmm.
So that's what was like, to me, was a little bit concerning. Were those water protection sites, or, you know, they definitely were held by the DPW. So Elaine, this is still considered Class A drinking water, right? For Crystal Lake?
Around the lake, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So
at least partial water supply.
we wouldn't want to be encouraging, you know, building on that land there.
No, I think that if you have a water supply, it should have a watershed around it. It may be legally required to have a watershed around it.
Yeah. Okay. So that may be why that acquisition was in there, because typically you do acquire like watershed around drinking water supply, right?
Yeah,
So your suggestion is just leave it as is here.
I mean, Judy, can you just clarify what the intent was for that, just so we can speak to it?
I think it was,
If you have to
one
go
of the-
back and look, that's
I
okay.
don't know specifically.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense to me. I just don't know if the town has money to do that.
I think we probably all know the answer.
So yeah, but this is where you can apply for a grant, right? And they can kick in some funding to acquire something like that for water protection.
Right. The challenge would be finding out when there's a parcel that might become available and being
Yep.
able to.
Just snatch it up.
Yeah, that's difficult. But let's learn more. I'm not sure we want to change this OSRP in response to that though, Eleanor.
No, no. I just want to get clarification on that acquisition question, like what the intent was.
Well, I guess my thought is it's vague enough that it covers a multitude of opportunities.
Okay.
In terms of a plan, we can say we've pointed it out and we'd like to continue to pursue the conversation as it as the opportunities might arise.
Okay.
So all that land in yellow east of Farm Street, all of that is educational property, school lands. That's associated with the Voc and our high school.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Except for a small amount of conservation land dropped in the middle of it.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And then we have Nahat Street Pit, which is our, according to this map, the largest conservation area.
Where is that? This?
It's the triangle. Yep.
Oh, God. Well,
Again, Judy, I was still stuck on like town forest. Why is that not conservation and recreation? Oh, no, it is recreation conservation. Okay, perfect.
it's the pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we're good with this.
Then should we suggest to Ethan that with the edits that I've noted in this spreadsheet,
Mhm.
which are relatively small. The other thing is you need to forward your edits.
Mhm.
Send them to me as well, so that way I can review them.
Okay.
And we'll try to wrap this up. Since we're only 2 years late.
Yeah.
Try to
I'll try and take a look again just to see if there's stuff already in it
Okay,
that he picked up, but. And then we're planning to meet on Friday.
yeah, I think that's gonna be virtual because,
That's easier.
yes, considerably, and
Yeah.
we'll just have to schlep over to the public safety building then.
Yeah.
What about the 14th? Were you having a meeting for the 17th?
Judy, I can't hear you. Say that
He's
again.
asking about the 17th versus this Friday because,
No, the 14th. You have a meeting scheduled for the 14th. Are you still gonna have that? We're having a meeting on the 17th as well.
Yeah.
I think
I would like,
I don't think we need a meeting on the 14th, do we?
Well,
we have a, go on.
we have what's scheduled as a public information session, which I actually am questioning the need for two meetings before the 17th. And between the two, I think it'd be more important to keep the publicly announced public information session, even though I know there's not a plan for a presentation, but people may want to come and give comments.
I think it's important to do a presentation. I guess I was thinking the three of us need time to talk through and just make sure we're on the same page about the bylaw, and then, maybe discussing sort of, the feedback we've gotten from the first two meetings, and if we want to tweak our presentation, to maybe make it a little more high level, or what things we need to address. I, I thought that would be well used time when we're a little bit fresh and not trying to tack that on at the end of a meeting at 9:30. But I definitely sensed sort of a little bit of a I want to say disconnect, but maybe we each were interpreting the bylaw and what we would do slightly differently. And I think it would be good if we could get ourselves into a virtual room and just make sure we're in agreement generally, and then kind of identify those things. Okay, we need to fine tune with Bill or whatever, we need input here, but at least making sure that on sort of the bare bone goals that we're in alignment.
And I think that, well, one, I mean, I think, the idea for the meeting on the 17th is to get everybody there. So I think Ethan's available, Elaine's available, is my understanding. So that would be a meeting with everyone present, which I think it would be difficult to sort of finalize these, kind of the fine tuning of it before, hearing everybody's input. In terms of, I think, high level, I mean, we have some consensus on the high level goals of the bylaw, but perhaps we could get a little more specific. But I'm also, again, questioning if that needs to be done over 2 meetings, the 10th and the 14th. And I took from the last meeting and agree that when the bylaw is being drafted and we don't have final answers, that's not really a good time to do a presentation, because even with the last presentation, which I sent to Ethan, I went back and put dates on all of that, because from our conversation, so many of those points are actually still topics that we're still having active discussions about.
Yep.
Right. That's why I was thinking it would be good for the 3 of us to talk, and for the next meeting to at least sort of, focus in on sort of the high level elements of a presentation, and then get questions that way. I don't think we can have a meeting and just say have people show up and ask questions. Like there's always some presentation element, but what do we feel comfortable talking about? And I think we can keep it pretty high level, and what points maybe would be worth mentioning in the presentation that we don't have yet. Um,
You have
so
the challenge, Eleanor, that even when the 3 of us get together just to do that, it's a public meeting.
yes, that's why I was saying have it just be on, because our next one is on Tuesday night, right? It would be nice to get ahead of it, look at the presentation we're thinking about doing, and then fine tune it, or decide what we think was working or doesn't work. Or we can just say, gosh, let's just walk into another meeting not having talked to each other and seeing how our thoughts have evolved, and let's just wing it.
I just don't see the 14th as a day that needs a presentation. We've got the high level goals out there. We have kind of the basic scenarios, but even, somewhat basic questions, I think we're still talking about.
What's our objective on the 14th? What are we trying to do?
Well, I think that's what I would like to agenda set for the 14th. And, again, if there's gonna be a meeting on the 10th, what's the agenda for that?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I personally don't see a
did you
need for
guys
2 meetings.
Did you look through the exemptions, and did you think those could work?
I have looked through the exemptions, but I also think, well, I thought we were talking about staging the discussion in terms of kind of resource areas delineation, and then exemptions.
Resource areas, delineations. Oh, in terms of Bill's thoughts, yes, but I guess he wanted to attack exemptions first. So I guess my thinking was, are we in agreement with generally with that approach and then go to Bill, or are we going to go to Bill with 4 different ideas about how things should be?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of an iterative dynamic process, because, things that we might learn are sort of not practical, like, the idea of you know, like the issue with DPW and isolated wetlands. So I think the feedback is helpful, but like, for example, clarifying what exempt or what protections currently exist around like intermittent streams. Do we want more than that? I mean, I think even basic questions like that. What areas get setbacks? Is the buffer zone a resource? I mean,
Okay. Do we agree, like, so the isolated wetlands, for example, like just high level goals, do we agree that we don't need to have 100-foot buffer on the isolated vegetated wetlands?
I wouldn't say that yet. I mean, that's something that, I understood we'd be talking about more. And I'm still doing, reading following up from our last meeting because our conversation really touched on pretty much every type of resource area and pretty much every aspect: definition, delineation, performance standards, needs, goals, realistic considerations, exemptions.
Okay. So you don't see any value in meeting?
Well, we have a meeting scheduled for the 14th.
Would you want to go back to the original presentation that we did to the planning board for that one, or no? I'm
Do
just
we
trying to
need a
think of high level.
presentation?
I think it's helpful when people come to a forum, they expect to get information. I've never been to one where there's been no presentation.
But
I
I
don't know.
think we could reflect that in the agenda and just say there's not a presentation. Presentations are available on the website. It's a working meeting.
I mean, this is a meeting to discuss
Okay.
potential edits to the wetland bylaw.
Okay.
It is not a meeting to take further public comments.
On the 14th, I think we got to look at how the agenda was worded.
I haven't seen one.
Let me see. Sorry, Judy, do you know how that agenda, if we have an agenda for the 14th yet?
Agenda yet? No.
Okay. Okay, I think we advertise it as an info session. So if you want to just use the 14th of the working meeting to kind of go back through the definitions, delineation, performance standards.
Well, I mean, but I thought that was what we had planned for the 17th.
So we're going to cancel the 14th meeting now?
No, but I'm saying I think we do need an agenda for the 14th, but maybe sort of mid-level needs, so for one thing, so I've been looking this week at kind of the interest in preventing flooding, and how does that come up in Wakefield? Where is that a problem? How would a bylaw impact that? I mean, ultimately, I think that will require discussion with Bill Urna, who is the floodplain administrator for the town. But that's something, I mean, that's a need that we could talk about. We could get more specific about what kind of, if the bylaw, if the bylaw passes and it does what we hope it will do, what kinds of things won't happen, like, you know, um, new roads won't be built past vernal pools, where the the salt from the road is going to destroy it. I mean, that's happened in Wakefield. Things like that. I think, and that was one of the comments in, I think, the first info session is, sort of Wakefield's need for it. And getting a little bit more specific about being able to answer what's the need and how does the bylaw address it.
Mhm.
In other words, why are we trying to do what we're trying to do?
Yeah, and it's yeah. And where will the benefits be seen if it passes and not be seen if it doesn't pass?
Right. So I guess wouldn't you, in my mind, feel like you would establish that up front, like you would define what you want your future to look like if the bylaw is passed, um, and then you kind of work from there with Bill to like, okay, how do we put it into performance standards or whatever? Like, if our goal is to protect, vernal pools, then we don't want to see roads built within this many feet of a vernal pool anymore.
Mhm.
And what are the and then we kind of go from there. That's where I was kind of concerned we may or may not be on the same page on things. Like, to me, I think it's important to try to protect as much of that vernal pool habitat, that 100 feet, because all the regrading and things you do can impact it. um, it's something Bill said something to me in passing, which was like on the isolated wetlands, and he said, if you just caveat out, um, you know except for in people's lawns or existing lawns and yards or something, then that would cut out a lot of their concerns, you know um, so getting to some agreement, like, do we all agreed with that, like that would be reasonable. I mean, I would like, with you guys, like to look at a couple of parcels and examples, um, with you, and say, okay, how would we treat this under the bylaw?
Well,
You
if
know,
we're going to do that, we need to
yeah,
find real examples.
you broke up. What?
We need to find real examples.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
don't have
we
to make
have,
something up.
well, we have one that across the street from, like, on across the street from you, Jennifer, like a little parcel. And then we have one that came today, which I think is a decent candidate in terms of looking at the work, regrading or whatever. Um, we can look at those and see how we would want to treat those and make sure there's consensus. We've talked about a lot about the 25-foot buffer. Um,
I
but
think that's a given.
yeah, but then we haven't really talked about what happens at 50 feet, you know? Are we are we comfortable with that type of existing structures and uses language that I provided, um, that Elaine, looked at? That's kind of broad. It gives people flexibility, you know, um, that they can continue their use of their current use of their yard and what they have. But if they want to do something new, you know, are we comfortable with the notion, like, just don't make it worse, just don't move closer to the wetland, but if you haven't done anything, we want you to keep as much of it as possible, like that. Like, what are we thinking? I think it's worth kind of talking through that with you guys. But
Um,
if
Yeah, so, I mean, I think those types of things would be good conversations for a meeting. And again, I do think it would be more important to keep our meeting on the 14th,
Okay.
rather than cancel a meeting that we announced a long time ago.
Okay.
And, I think whether I'll feel sort of able to answer, I mean, it may just vary because I'm reading on multiple things all at the same time. And I know I won't be done reading everything by Friday. I can have more read by next Tuesday in terms of, just thinking through the feedback that we've already had. So, I mean, I think we can take a shot at it and, get a little bit more specific about what we think the needs are, the types of things that we would hope would be prevented, things we hope would be protected by the bylaw and allowed by the bylaw, like that particular exemption.
Okay. Okay, so we'll cancel the 10th.
Okay.
It sounds like, yeah, you guys don't.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
fine. No, that's fine. That's fine. As long as we keep the 14th, that's better in my opinion.
I'll be traveling, but I should be at my destination. Plenty of time to do the 14th.
Okay. Okay. Well, Elaine, thank you so much for filling in
Oh, you're welcome.
and yeah, bringing up the salt storage issue.
Yes, that's much more complicated than what it appears from just that one photograph with an outline of the location. There's a
Yep.
lot more to it than that.
Yeah, it sounds like we're going to need them to revisit their proposal.
And there might be a storm drain there. That's what I wasn't sure about. Like I don't think you would see that on Mass Mapper. Like that's too, I don't think a storm drain would show up.
No, I think it'd be too small. And it
Yeah.
would match the background color.
Yeah. So I think you have to sort of look and see because yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would defeat the whole purpose of trying to protect those wetlands. If there's a storm drain that drains directly to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Then that I think becomes a Bill Renault, like I don't know if it's their drain, it depends whose drain it is. Like it's
Yeah. Also,
Maybe private.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I just was thinking it might be private. It might actually run with the property. Elaine, do you have any history on that whole development of the Edgewater?
Well, it's all private. We know that
Okay.
it's private.
It's been around for, I'm going to say 25, 30 years, easily, maybe 40 years.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
They bought it from the old amusement park.
Pleasure Island Amusement Park.
That's right. Yep. And then turned it into an office campus, but it's all private property. And
I'm guessing that was all done before the Wetlands Protection Act enforcement activities started up.
No, that was their filings for all of those buildings. That's all post Wetlands Protection Act. They all have orders of conditions.
Oh, they do. Okay. Right.
Yep. When did Wakefield establish its conservation commission again?
I don't remember.
Judy, do you remember?
1983.
8-3 or 9-3?
83.
Oh, okay, 1983. Okay. All right. Thank you. Write that down. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you all.
All right. We need a motion to adjourn unless there's something further we need to discuss tonight.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
You in favor? Jennifer,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank
Thanks
you.
everybody for the patience and staying on till now.